Thank you. That was funny before we recorded. That was funny. I said, let's go Mets, and I got a chuckle. Anyway, guys, the year is 1995, and WCW Nitro have their very first Nitro. It was to go against Monday Night Raw. Raw happened in 1993. Ted Turner said, I'm going to enter the wrestling business too. And they had their first Nitro in September of 1995. We wanted to review this show 2 weeks before, to kind of catch around that time. But, real life kicks in. And now, before the month of September is over, we are reviewing the very first episode of Monday Nitro. Let's take this beautiful graphic down here. Hey, how's everybody on this recording? I'm one of your hosts, the Great Grand Slam Pooba, and I'm joined with our favorite casual, Mark Wins, and we have the smartest man in the room, Rich King, or Kings with a Z. WWF would have definitely have hired you in the late 90s, Rich Kings. I just realized there's a Z at the end. But gentlemen, I know how you guys are doing, but why don't you tell the people who is watching, how are you, gentlemen? I'll give you the floor first here, Mark Wins, and please, Rich King, tell the lovely folks how you doing.
I'm doing all right. I'm chilling. Pretty good. I'm excited to review this first episode of Nitro because I was some. They're not that interesting this time, but I have some thoughts. I like the I'm enjoying this retro stuff because I'm seeing like the difference between wrestling now versus wrestling then, and then you can see like where things have changed, and then you can see where as much as things change, things stay the same. So but yeah, I'm good. Chilling.
What's interesting is that I always say with all the respect in the world with the word casual, like you're casual, like enough what's going, what wrestling is, and you have a great healthy respect about it. So hearing you say like, man, this retro stuff has been pretty cool because you get to see the difference of, because wrestling is always evolving. Like even now in today's wrestling, I don't know how they're going to evolve, but it's going to evolve. So I can't wait to hear your thoughts and your perspective on things. You did a fantastic job on the King of the Ring 98 review with us. So thank you for that. Rich King, smartest man in the room. How the heck are you?
Doing great, can't complain. I'm heading home right now, so that's a good thing. Alive and well.
It is, and I'm glad that you're alive and well, and so we could talk about some WCW Nitro. I can't wait to hear your thoughts about this show. What was I going to sit here and say? Oh, that's fine. That's I'm sorry. I could sit here and say in the thing that don't worry, that could be edited before this is put into the actual video. So thank you for that. The spell check, because yes, the spelling is important. Grammar is very important. We want you folks to know that. I growing up, I was a WCW kid. I said that I feel like that could be a shirt for me. I was a WCW kid. But when I started watching Nitro, it was in the middle of 1998. NWO was going on. You have two NWOs. You have NWO Black and White, NWO Red and Black. You have Bill Goldberg ruining wrestling, and there's a lot of things just. That's the time I caught Nitro. So I really don't know anything about that early Nitro, 95, 96 before NWO. And it was just so interesting seeing like what that Nitro was like, because for me, that's when Nitro started, was 98 for me. That's what I thought about it. And I don't know, I'm interested in talking about this, but I was a Nitro kid, and I don't know, man. This was a different, and what else was different too when the concept and the thought about reviewing this particular episode, right? I remember I was like, oh, great, it's gonna be a 2-hour show. Okay, how am I gonna squeeze this into my daily routine? Because I go out to go to work, and then I do other podcasts. So how was I gonna squeeze this in? 45 minutes. I said, oh, this is definitely something different. It just caught my. When I saw that, and I immediately was kind of going to go and watch episode 2. I didn't get opportunity to do it, but seeing this thing 45 minutes, I was like, I don't know. It just kind of blew my mind. I don't know about you guys, but it just kind of blew my mind. Did that catch anyone's attention on how dissectable? Jeez, I feel like thank you that it is.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess in my mind, I expected a 2-hour show, or hour 30 minutes because commercials, and then you view it on Peacock or whatever, and then it's a little shorter than 2 hours. When I saw 45 minutes, I was like, "That's it. That's it. That's the game. That's the game." So I was like, "All right, cool. 45 minutes." And I guess I did kind of appreciate it because I did have not a lot of things going on, but I had a decent amount of things going on, and I was definitely after a certain point, I was like, "Yo, why did I commit to this?" But then I thought it was
I get
45
you.
minutes. I was like, I can figure this out. So this 45 minutes was low key a blessing.
And now I don't think this kind of stuff would work in today's wrestling. I just think it just goes to show you. And I feel like it was something that you were saying before, like when we did the King of the Ring thing, and you was watching it, and you was like, man, in 1999, 1998 eyes, man, this was so cool and stuff, and it's so different now when you see, because a lot of those stuff has been kind of done and stuff like that, and topped, whatever, however you want to word it, but like. I just couldn't see that working today, especially now with all the TV time, and they got to try to get all these names on here and stuff like that. I do want to sit here and say, before we break down, there was 3 matches. There was actually 4, because one of them was a dark match. Unfortunately, I don't have the results for it, but there was 4. I just want to talk about. I'm sorry, I have my little notes here. I'm gonna pull them out so I could be the constant professional. But this event, this was at the Mall of America. I want to. I wish I actually wrote where this was at, but I thought this was so. Thank you. See, okay, someone has been taking notes here as Rich Kings is back. Let's bring this lovely man back on here. Rich Kings, how are you? But I love the where this took place at. I thought the vignette was just something so different and so special. You know what I thought about when I was looking at this? I said, man. Now, if I could just pull the curtain back a little bit, we some Queens boys. We all grew up in Queens. How cool would it have been if we had a wrestling event in Green Acres Mall? What? I mean, obviously, the Green Acres Mall is not as big. Well, not. I mean, Green Acres is kind of growing these days, but in the '90s, it definitely was not bigger than this mall. Like they had what was it? The escalator. It looked like it was going to the heavens. But what? I want to give you the floor first here, Rich Kings. What did you think about this? Where the event was held?
We're all right. So, retrospect, right?
Sure.
I thought it could have been. I don't. All right. No, I can't think about what it is now. Back then, I guess that where it was held, it kind of makes sense for the era, right? So it just looked like it was like a party or a casual dinner setting. Like if you walk into like a banquet, that's where I would expect to see it at. It was kind of weird to see it so close in. It felt like everybody was so cumbersome together. But I guess for back then, you get what you could get, right? So it kind of made sense, but it kind of threw me off because I really felt it was almost like a circus atmosphere. I think about when we were kids growing up into a circus, like everything was so close together, and it was just a lot. It was overwhelming. But that's just my opinion about that part.
So let me ask if I could just to add a little bit to what you were saying. If you saw a wrestling ring in the mall, you wouldn't sit there and join the festivities, or?
I would not.
Oh, okay.
I would keep it moving.
Wow.
I'd be like, what's going on over here? I'm out of here.
Wait. Okay. Hold on.
We're thinking about 1995 now.
Yes. Okay. Right. I'm thinking about 1995. So I'm gonna ask 2 questions.
Sure. What's the question?
Today, 2025, you see WWE or AEW in the mall. If it's one, if it's just for one and no for the other, let me know. You're not gonna stick around and see what's going on there.
Are you talking about me personally, or are you just saying people?
Both of y'all. Both
No,
of you
I'm
personally.
saying. Oh, personally. Oh, would I stop by if I saw a wrestling ring in the mall? Yes, 100%.
Yeah. What about you, Rich Kings?
If it's inside the mall, yes, I'm gonna stop by right now. Yes, because I just want to be like, I want to be interested. But thinking back then, now, I have to start to say no. But
But I'm just
to my next question. 1998, 1999, 2000, Green Acres Mall. The Rock is there. You know The Rock is there. I'm not interested.
Oh, we lit.
Well, now we're in 1998. Now I'm interested. Like 1995, I wasn't all that interested.
Oh, so that's what it is. Okay, I get what you're. Because I was just curious on what was like the difference here. But I get what you're saying. You're saying 95.
I got to put myself in 1995. 1995, I was more into baseball and basketball.
Sure.
Like, I don't think I really came into wrestling until, honestly, this guy right here, the great Grand Slam Puma.
As soon as I get my flowers, all the time.
Unbelievable.
I do appreciate
shit. We're gonna have to sue the internet for that one.
Oh yeah, we do. Cause I was, that I do. I was. No, I'm gonna. He has to say it again. Yeah, like he run that back. But no, but I do get what he's saying when he says 95. Like I feel like in 95 I was watching wrestling, but I wasn't like fully involved in wrestling. Like how I was late, like 98 is really my start point in wrestling. So I get what Rich Kings was talking about when he says that, when he says like in 95, I wasn't watching. I totally get what you mean by that.
But sorry about that, guys. I'm looking at my destination.
No, it's fine. But I did want to hear that one more time just for me.
Yeah. So I would say it's this guy, him and his brother actually got me into wrestling because his brother was a big Shawn Michaels fan. And at the time, I wasn't really watching. I was watching more sports and playing into cartoons. And that's when I started getting interested, like 1997, 1998. So for me, it's a little bit different.
Yeah. No, I could totally understand that. I just thought the scenery was cool. I totally get what you're saying about 95 and stuff like that. But you look at that and also the sea of people, like, seeing people, like I can imagine people who are not into, because there were people there who are not into wrestling, and they're like, what the hell is going on here? But you have people who's like, Sting and Hogan and Flair, and look, why don't we get into this match? But I did want to ask you guys this real quick before we go in. I like to touch every little part about this Nitro show. Did you guys have any thoughts about the commentary team of Steve McMichael, Eric Bischoff, and Bobby Heenan? I want to start with you, Mark Wentz.
Yes, I do have thoughts about them. They were putting WCW over with the subtle shots of WWF all night long. And I'm listening to these guys, and I'm like, is this what AEW sounds like? And then I'm also listening, I'm like, was TNA this bad? Because I don't remember TNA being this bad. Every so often, they would say something that was like really obvious, like, oh, it was an obvious shot, but it wasn't like that big of a deal. Sure. I think it was more like during when they became Impact Wrestling, that the shots became a little more frequent. But all night long, it felt like every time there was something to say, this is the best wrestling you're ever going to find ever on the planet. This is where the big boys play. Like, guys, we get it. You're in competition. You're competing for WWF. I understand. Like, relax. It's cool. That's okay. Let the wrestling talk for itself. Like, come on. Mm-hmm. Other than that, they were okay. They were a pretty good.
They were a pretty good team. Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair. Rich Kings, you I know you pay attention to like the commentary team and stuff like that, but you have any thoughts about this team?
Exactly what Mark Wynn said. This is where I was coming from. Like, we get it. Like, you're putting on a new show, it's a competition, and you're getting some of the former WWF talent.
Oh yeah.
So I guess they're trying to showcase how we're getting all these people. We're the best. We're up and coming. We're this, and it's like, well, you have to brag so much of yourself. Maybe you're not it. That's where I come from. Like, it's almost like, people say, I'm the man in bed. And then it's like, why you got to talk about it? Just let the action speak for itself. That's all you got to do. So that's where I came from with that piece. So I agree 100% with Mark was in that one.
It's amazing that you guys, because like I did hear him say the big boys and stuff like that, because that was their slogan for it, where the big boys play and the best wrestling is really. I remember that catchphrase. That was a catchphrase they were running with for a bit. but I thought they were okay. I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, I don't think I would put this in my top 5. I don't even not. I don't think I wouldn't put it in my top 5. I thought that Steve McMichaels was trying his best to keep up with Bobby Heenan. I thought Bobby Heenan was pretty hilarious. I thought he was pretty funny and some of his jabs and takes and stuff that he's pretty quick witted when he was speaking. It's funny because like when I hear people talk about Bobby Heenan being like the best manager, and that's I believe people when they say that. I totally missed that era. Like when I saw Bobby Heenan, I always thought he was a commentator until I realized there was this whole other life before this. But I thought he was really good on it. I thought Steve McMichael was doing his best to keep up with him, and he would say some stuff, and I thought some stuff was pretty good. But I was like, Bobby Heenan is the man, and Eric Bischoff was just giving you a little taste on what he would be, because Eric Bischoff is great. Anytime anyone even give Eric Bischoff a microphone, I'm listening because I just think he's hilarious. So I thought the team was okay. Let's talk about the very, very first match. I honestly thought this was the match of the show. But let's talk about this match here real quick. Juice and Thunder Liger went against Flying Brian. They went 6 minutes. It was a singles match. This was giving you this was just like a teaser. This was just a little bit of a teaser on what the cruiserweight division could be. And it started with these guys. You know, when I think about the cruiserweight division, you know, the greatest cruiserweight of all time, Juventud Guerrera, the fraudulent of all time, Rey Mysterio, Psychosis, Billy Kidman. Man, I felt like an Ultimo Dragon. I felt like that name don't get tossed around a lot. There's so many other greats in here, and these two kicked it off and just show you what they can do. So I want to give you the floor first here, Rich Kings. What did you think about this match? By the way, Flying Brian gets the dub here over Juice and Dunn. You know what's funny? Rich Kings, when we did the NXT Brooklyn review show, we did a review match. We reviewed a match with Juice and Thunder Liger. So what did you think about this, seeing a much younger Juice and Thunder Liger against Flying Brian Pillman?
Yeah, like I think it was a fun match altogether. I think that it was a great way to open the show. And once again, I have to be reminded it was only a 45-minute show, right? So
Yes.
when I think about how the match was, there was, the moonsault he hit on Pillman, and like there were so many different things. It just looked so athletic for its time. I had to keep reminding myself this is not new. This is 1995. And like I think it was a great open for the match. So yeah, Flying Brian wins the match. It was good enough action to keep the crowd entertained, and I thought the crowd was kind of hot watching the match. So I felt it was pretty good.
Mark Wayne, you said you have thoughts. I'm not sure if it was about this match, but please take the floor, sir.
So I did enjoy the match right until the end. The end, I don't know. This is I get it. It's 1995, but this was hard for me to ignore. Like this stuck, that ending where he gets the flip over and he wins like that with the sneaky flip pin. It wasn't even sneaky because it's not like he cheated or anything. It was a clean pin, but that ending, because it was a good match. I was enjoying it. I saw that. I think they mentioned how Brian Pillman, he was like coming back from an injury. Either this was his first match from an injury or something along the lines. But he was injured recently, so like he messed up his first flying head scissors, and then the second one he did it slightly better. And the commentators highlighted that, and Liger hit Brian with the power bomb. That was dope. It was a great match. I enjoyed it. But then that ending, it really killed it for me. I can't ignore it. Here's the thing, right? If it's 1995, you're watching that match, especially if you're in the mall watching that match, it's probably the hypest thing in the world. Right.
Yeah.
I really tried my best to, see it from that perspective. And I get it. But that ending really killed that match for me. But other than the ending, and to be fair, I am kind of sort of nitpicking the ending, right? Because it's not even like it was a bad ending.
Sure.
It's just not the ending that I wanted to see for that type of match.
So you wanted more of a decisive. I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you, but did you want it more of a decisive winner?
Something like that. I wanted to see somebody's finisher ended, and I'm fairly confident that ending was not Flying Brian's finish. But at the same time,
No.
Once again, thinking about it, he might have been booked to win it, but he's coming back from an injury. He might have just wanted to take it easy.
Right.
Understandable. All right. I know what I wanted to see, and I think that's where it boils down to my personal expectations.
And you know what?
What
That's
the match
fair.
actually was. Yeah.
And you know what? That's fair, and that's honesty, and that's all anybody can ask for. I thought this match was good. That's why I said I thought it was the match of. I keep saying the night, but like the match of the event, if you will. And I thought that these guys went out there and showcased what they could do. I do want to highlight because they showed a promo hyping Sabu. And I guess he was going to be in that. I'm assuming he was going to be in that crew. Yeah, no, it's more like like that. But isn't it wild to you guys? So, I remember hearing that he had a small run in WCW, like very, very small. I'm talking, quantum. What's it called? Quantumanium small run. And thank you for all of that. But I remember I was watching this vignette and this promo hyping him up. And I said, this just don't feel right. Like, because Sabu is such an ECW guy. So I was like, yeah, like, okay, I guess. But,
we're talking about the same promo that had the 80s and 90s LSD effect.
Yeah, like he's jumping, it slows down and it's purple and stuff. Like, I was watching, I was like, so what the hell? I mean, in the 90s, they really loved the technology. They're like, oh man, we really onto some shit here, man. And they just couldn't wait to like utilize that stuff. So yes, I do want to sit here and say yes, that kind of like it's funny, like I remember watching that stuff as a kid, I would be like, yo, that's mad hype, bro. Like I would be mad hype about that because they'll have like this certain music and then they'd be like, this happened on Nitro. And then they'd be like, I will get my revenge and all that stuff. That shit used to get me hype, bro. I used to say, put that shit like crack. Put that shit in me, man. Actually, no, don't do that. That's terrible. But the video I was watching, I just said, man, this don't feel right. But Rich Kings, I don't know if I've ever heard you talk much about Sabu, but what did you think about this WCW promo hyping him up for the next episode of Nitro?
It was mid for me. I mean, even like obviously post knowing what happened, and even watching it then, I'm like, oh my gosh, because I can be honest with you, it's like when we see these promos and the unknown happens and it's complete letdown. It's like hiding right on the hiding right level. Like you feel these cuts, and I'm like, what are we doing? And it's just not good. So I don't know. I don't know how good Sabu was in WCW. Obviously, he wasn't that good to be cut, but I didn't care for it too much, to be honest with you.
That's fair. Wins?
Nah, I have very little to say about it other than the LSD effect. I think
that's what I'm saying. That used to get me hype.
So like the LSD effect, right? It produced more, what is it, spectacle than substance. Because of that effect, you can barely see like what he was actually doing. Like you got to sit there and squint your eyes. It probably works better on CRTs or whatever. Like on those Oh, I need to turn that off.
That was perfect timing. That was such perfect timing.
On those TVs back in the day, but yeah, I don't know. I have to go with Rich King and say it was good.
I do have to sit here and say I think you touched on something really, really good here, or a really good point because you were saying like, well, you couldn't see what he was doing. I think that was the whole purpose of what he was doing because like he would jump and do something and then they hit it. So yeah, that was a good point. Like like when I watched the video, I was like, huh, this is different. But when you said the LSD stuff, because I want that to be clear, like that shit gets me hype. Like I was like, oh, that's so fucking cool. Like I like stuff like that. But this thing right here, it just didn't feel right seeing Sabu because he's an ECW guy. Like he throws chairs at people and he goes through chairs and he just like rolls in barbed wire. So like, yeah, it just didn't feel right. And I think that was why he got cut is because he would, he had I think like he put someone through a table or something like that, and they were like, "Oh no, we don't do that here." So,
this is wrestling, not fighting or attacking.
this is This is that is hilarious. Let's talk about this match here. We had Sting going against Ric Flair. It was for the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship. I just want to sit here and say real quick. I don't know if you guys have a definitive United States Championship, like a design or anything like that. But to me, this was always the definitive one. The WCW United States Championship is just fucking art. It is just so fucking beautiful. Like when I see it, I cry because it's just such a beautiful belt. When I saw it again, and look, the WWE version, I mean, they tried. They really did, but it never hit for me. The WWE version, it was always the inferior one. But I loved seeing this belt. But these guys go out. I just had to say that. I just thought it was so important. I wanted to make sure the WCW United States Championship belt got all the love in the world because, damn it deserves it. But this match goes 8 minutes and 43 seconds. And honestly, this was not really a good match. I usually get kind of hype seeing like a young Sting because young Sting used to listen. I think even when Sting got older, he could still go. I'm just saying, but young Sting was a whole nother animal. He would run, hop over the rope, and he was a freak athlete. But this match was really good. Like he did a lot. Like when he did the military press, I was like, cool. And then I saw it like 8 more times, and I was like, I promise you, I know you have other moves. It kind of remind me of like. So in 2K, right, you can use the same move over and over, but like they have a star ranking on there. So if you do a move enough, they'll stop giving you enough points. At some point, they just don't give you any more points. They'd be like, okay, you are just abusing that, and we have no interest on giving you anything for that, like no points for that at all, because you are abusing that. So I that kind of just turned me off a little bit. They usually have some. I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't have a definitive really. So my definitive match with them where you say, man, what was a really good match? Like, what was a match for you? I know a lot of people could go early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. I can't really have that conversation with you. Personally, for me, was the end of WCW Nitro. I thought it was a fine match. It wasn't long. It was just these two guys that have been facing each other for many, many years, and they wanted to end it with these guys going. So this match, my point in saying all that is that this match didn't do it for me. R. Anderson is out there, and he's beefing with Ric Flair, but the match wasn't the important thing. It was the important thing was the guy on the graphic that you see for this review. We have Lex Luger jumping from WWF, and what is hilarious about this is his last match was the night before. I want to say was Shawn Michaels, and he just said, "I'm going to WCW." And I've heard the backstory enough where Sting vouched for him and tried to get him to come back because he was with WCW prior. And Eric Bischoff had no interest. And he tried to lowball him on purpose. I don't know what the amount of money it was, but it was a lowball number. And Lex Luger said, I'm game. Eric Bischoff said, oh, shit. I just think that's so funny. I think, like, you imagine, like, someone just calls you a bluff. Like, yeah, I'm down. Oh. I did not. I turned the page and did not see that coming. But Lex Luger is out there. He's out there with his big puffy shirt, and the crowd is eating it up. And this was to add the shock factor of like anything can happen on live too. Because here's the thing: Monday Night Raw was not live; they were taped. Nitro was live, and they wanted you to know anything can happen. So I'm going to start off with Rich King. I know how much he's a big Sting fan, so I can't wait to hear his thoughts about this match. So what do you think about this match and this moment here where Lex Luger is standing in the crowd way with his hands on his hips?
Yeah, it looks like Lex Luger ready to post on a new magazine, Wrestling DQ magazine. Like, I don't know.
Wrestling, yeah.
But I'm gonna get back to Lex Luger. I think the match, obviously, like you said, it was not their best match or what they could have done. I think one of my favorite parts, like, of Sting, like it was almost like I'm not saying Sting was trying to sabotage the match, or I don't know what the hell was going on, honestly. But when Sting no sell the suplex, I think it started hitting him. I was like, what's happening here? Like, what's going on? The Arn Anderson distraction and them fighting at the end, like obviously was like, what was all that for? Like, I guess I wasn't watching as much at all at that time frame, and I did not watch anything before that. I don't know if anything was available, so I don't
Sure.
know the full backstory of Arn Anderson. I know that like there's little clips and stuff like that, but the full backstory of the fight. But my highlight was like you said, how many bench presses or presses you're gonna be doing here, and then the no selling is like absolutely hilarious. Like, he's like, yeah, I'm not.
Hold on, you
I
got
can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
yes.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So yeah, for me, the highlights was the no selling. The match was not that good. And actually, Ric Flair showing up, I don't even right now. I don't know how much of a big deal Ric Flair. I'm not Ric Flair. I mean, Lex Luthor is. I undervalue him. I guess I don't think he's all that. So I guess like when he shows up for me, for now, then, whenever, forever, okay, big deal. Move on.
No, and I hear what you're saying. I'll give you the floor here, Mark. I hear what you're saying because I was never a big Lex Luger fan either. And I guess this was just there because that was the first big jump from WWF to WCW. So that was where the hype is. But I totally understand where you're coming from, where you're like, if you ask me, name your top 5 Lex Luger matches, I'd be like, ooh. Mark Owens, please take the. Oh, you said ooh too?
I could barely name 2.
I remember he had one with, I mean, I can name some matches. He had one with Yokozuna. He had one with Bret Hart in WCW. He fought Sting, obviously. I mean, I can name matches, but do I have a favorite Lex Luger match? I do. It was one on WCW night, Thunder. Bret Hart won back the United States Championship, and that was the only reason why I liked it, because he won his championship back. That's the only reason why. But Mark, you said it makes sense. Thank you. Mark wins, please.
So, watching this match, I saw this match and I got hyped.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, yeah, it wasn't that good. But I feel like it wasn't their fault. So, like, well, no, it wasn't completely their fault, right? So, like, I'm watching this match and I'm hyped because it's been very long since I've seen young Sting and young Ric Flair in action. So it was like, and as I'm watching the match, I'm looking at the way they wrestle. I was like, this is why they wrestle forever, because the way they wrestle, it's very conservative, very spot on, very. I don't want to use the word technical in terms of like, you know, your Bret Harts and your right, but it's technical in terms of like. Right, it's foundational. That's what that's the word. Fundamental foundational. Yeah,
that's good. That's good.
Like, we are on these spots and we're doing these spots and we're hitting this. Seeing nobody woo for the chop. Like I don't remember the last time this even happened. So like to see that was like I had to run it back to be sure I didn't like miss it. Like that I just didn't hear it. Okay. Sting no selling is absolutely hilarious. I like because it's one thing if he did it once. I want to say so. You said we talk about the military press. I think he military pressed Ric Flair a maximum of 3 times, but he also no sold like 3 times. Yeah, it was only 3 times because it was like 2 in the beginning of the match and then 1 more at some other point, and then he no sold like 3 different things. I think he no sold the suplex. He arguably no sold the figure 4 at the end, and I feel like he no sold something else. And I was like, "Yo, was Sting really this monster back in the day? Like, what's like?" I was confused. I was hyped, but I was confused. And then we have Lex Luger there for no reason. I don't like. Arn Anderson had a reason, whatever. Lex Luger, I'm confused as to why he's there. I don't understand any context. I'm like, wow, I need Google for this because what is going on? Right. And guys explained he had just jumped ship from WWF, whatever they call themselves these days. He jumped ship from there. He's probably the reason why there's a 90-day no compete clause, or one of the reasons.
I'm sorry, because Vince McMahon's in the back. Oh hell no! Yo, Vince McMahon saying, "I fucking trusted this guy." Nah, that is so funny. Sorry, go ahead. That's great.
So then Ric Flair, he kind of sort of disqualifies himself at the end, right? Because He gets the figure 4 in, but once again, like I said, Sting is kind of sort of no selling it. Sting is like, I'm Sting. Look at me, I'm Sting, and I'm like, yo, what Sting is this? He's so young and he's just so spry, and he doesn't give a fuck in a different way that I'm used to him not giving a fuck. And so Ric Flair grabs the ropes like he's trying to get all the leverage in the world. It's like, yo, forget all of this. I'm going to break his legs or something like that. So then, the ref technically count 5 twice, so he has to DQ him. But by the time this DQ happens, and I'm wondering if that has something, maybe Arn Anderson missed his cue or whatever. I don't know, because eventually Arn Anderson comes in. Yeah, because eventually Arn Anderson comes in, and then, he whoops Ric Flair's ass. And I'm just like, yo, what is this chaos? The match itself was okay. I think that the commercials interrupted the flow. Lex Luger didn't have to show up. I felt like if Lex Luger was going to show up, he should have showed up right at the end when he did. We'll talk about that later. I think that's when he should have showed up.
Sure.
But other than that, I feel like part of the reason why the match was not good is because of the commercials. Because I feel like the commercials that missed out all of Ric Flair's offense. Like whatever offense Ric Flair had, we went to commercial, and then by the time he came back, he has no more offense. And then we have to show off Arn Anderson, and we have to show off Lex Luger. Now, granted, it wasn't their best match,
right? Yeah.
But all of that, I don't think that was completely their fault.
And if I can just add a little bit to that, I don't think the match wasn't designed to have a good match, right? I think it was just for that shock factor of having Lex Luger. Because I hear what you're saying about because you said you had to Google like what was the big deal about that, right? Was that what you was Googling for?
Yeah,
with Lex Luger. Okay, so right, it was just really to have that Lex Luger is there and anything can happen, like I was saying earlier. Because the same thing, not the same thing. I mean, but something randomly happened a little bit after his match because Scott Norton shows up out of nowhere and he's picking a fight with somebody. Then Macho Man wants to pick a fight, so they really wanted to push this whole thing. Anything can happen live on TV. Anybody can show up, which is kind of terrifying because where's your security guard when you sit there and say anybody can show up? That's dangerous. I'm sorry. Like, if anyone sits there and tell me like anything can happen, I'm not going there because that sounds like a death trap. The match wasn't that good. We also get a vignette with. Not $1 Billion Ted, man. I can't think of it. But
Michael Wall Street.
Yes, the former IRS. Now, when you talked about, you boys talked about them taking shots at WWF at the time. So the WWF was going through this phase at the time. It was called the New Generation. So when he mentioned and he said, then they say that he said something about the New Generation. It was clearly a shot at him. And then he makes a reference to his old gimmick of the IRS. And I mean, when I was seeing this, and I could see how people would be like turned off by this and stuff like that. I don't mind it when it's not overkill, and I can understand if it was the way it was on this show for you boys, where you were like, "Man, this was overkill." I like stuff like this because it's like their way of like we acknowledge. I mean, you gotta acknowledge WWF because they were the first show, right? They had the Monday night slot before WCW, so they had to acknowledge. But it's their way to be like, yeah, and once again, you should be able to see WWF. I'm sorry, because word and verbiage and everything like that. But like they're taking shots at the big dog, like, yeah, we want a shot at the big dog, and that's what they want to do. It's funny as I'm watching this too, like, and I never thought much about it. Like, I know, like after a while, it just seemed like WCW was taking a lot of the old WWF guys and stuff like that. But as I'm watching this show, it's like, because we're gonna get to the main event of Hogan and Big Bubba Rogers, right? And I'm like, that's Hulk Hogan against Big Boss Man. You got the IRS and Kamala. I mean, I'm like, damn, they really got all of Hogan's foes. Like they literally got all of them, all here just to fight Hogan. Like I don't know. I just find stuff like that funny. But we can get. I don't know if you boys had any thoughts about Michael Wall Street's promo here before we get into the main event. Mark, you always said you said you have thoughts. I did want to. There was something that you said earlier, and I just wanted to use this picture. Rich Kings, I think you've seen this picture before. You ever seen this picture of Mark Wins when we went to Yep, I Like Wrestling, and Mark was relatively confused about, I forgot, I think it was about Jay losing, but I always kept this hair. I might have to find a way to expand this a little bigger so it could cover everything, but This is definitely an emote. That's what the kids say now. Emote, I'm gonna say. But do you have any thoughts about the Wall Street stuff, Mark Wentz?
Not really. I didn't.
Fair.
It was whatever for me. It was probably once again in '95. It was probably hype. You were talking about this is the IRS guy from WWF. So at the time, I was like, oh, we got the IRS guy from WWF. And then I can imagine someone from 1995 was avidly watching both shows, and they're like, wow, you probably have your WWF fans that are like, well, you're just taking out trash. And you have the WCW fans that are like, yo, we're stealing WWF talent left and right and center, and it's like, it's just really interesting. Like, once again, it's one of those things where, like, as much as things change, they stay the same. So,
oh yeah, no. As soon as you said that, I was like, no, please.
Yeah, I was like, other than that, I don't really have much thoughts about Mr. Wall Street here.
No, I just wanted to say, because as you said that, I was like, all you gotta do is change your initials, and it's still the same. Like, still been going. It's a thing. Tribalism. It just got worse as time went on. But I don't believe now. I would talk to someone who really was around for that early stage of the Monday Night Wars. Because when it was happening with us, we were in elementary school, so we wasn't on the internet or anything, or any of that stuff. But I would ask someone much older than me, like, was it bad? Because I feel like it got worse. As, we're not going to talk about that now, but I just feel like it's definitely got worse as each year. Because even with the stuff, and I feel like we had a conversation about WWE, TNA, I felt like TNA fans were not as. I don't feel like around that time, because even with WWE fans, they could be toxic too. But I don't feel like it was as aggressive. It was like, oh, you like TNA? Cool. I don't watch it, but that's fine. Now it's like, oh, you watch AEW? You're watching the enemy. And it's like, what? And it's like, yeah.
So there were some WWE fans. What are they called? The loud minority that was like really like going ham on WWE being better than TNA, and it was because you had fans that genuinely enjoyed TNA saying, yeah, it's better than WWE, and it's like they were like me, like there were objective things that WWE were better at, right? Like they had better ratings, they had better production, da 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 da. Cool, we understand that, but the product inside the ring, it stands toe to toe if it's not better than WWE, and that was like the only thing that like TNA fans, like that's the only thing that most TNA fans will argue. As opposed to now, AEW swear up, down, left, and right that they are head over heels ahead of WWE, and I find that hilarious because it's just like you're not, and it's like it's because it's like it's okay if you like the product. I understand if you like the product better than WWE, understand.
That's fair.
But right, but don't take things that are objectively incorrect and like blind yourself to the fact that it's incorrect. Like that I don't understand, and that is definitely where it's gotten much worse because I don't understand
it. Rich Kings, you have any thoughts about the promo and how do you say it? Tribalism in wrestling?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, it's like a mid-card person going over there, or a below mid-card person going over there. So it's like, it is what it is. Like, obviously, later on, you get the Kevin Nash and the Scott Hall and stuff like that. But I don't get really, like, entertained unless it's somebody that I truly like. Like, I knew something about this person before, A. Or B, if it's a needle mover. So, most times, like, needle movers don't jump the ship that much. And if it's it's like one or two people. I know, it's sad.
Oh, that's adorable. Hi.
But it's not that it's like a few people. So at the time, obviously, and this is another thing too. There's all but so much talent, so you can't keep everybody. So some people have to go to the opposition regardless. So it's healthy for the business. But
for sure,
this person going over there, like IRS man.
IRS man. I'm so mad I never made that a villain when I was writing. IRS man. That's great. He just takes your money. That's the last match, and I mean there was a promo before it. Hogan Mania as Pasta Mania. He's selling pasta, and the kids are going crazy for him and stuff like that. But we get this match: Hulk Hogan against Big Bubba Rogers. This match goes 7 minutes and 8 seconds. I mean, it was a Hulk Hogan match. One of the best descriptions I ever had heard about Hulk Hogan was Hulk Hogan just fought a big man. Just there was a big man in the ring for Hogan to beat, and it sure enough did happen there. You guys were talking about the no sell Sting and whatnot. Maybe we need to have a top 5 list of people who no sell because Hogan was good at that too. Hogan got big boss man slammed, and Hogan kicked out. Hogan said, "Absolutely not." Got up, hulked up, hit him with some punches, boot, leg drop, and that was it. That was it. And then chaos happens. All of Hogan's fucking ops come out running. They all run out there just to beat the shit out of Hogan. And then you got Sting come out, Macho's helping out. And then they have it's so cheesy. Like, I love that you guys always point out like the year, like, hey, to cut us some slack, it's 1995, right? So, they do the thing where Hogan and he getting the foes and Lex Luger with his puffy shirt is there and they're knocking everyone down, they're fighting, and then they walk back and they hit each other. And then Hogan is like, "What are you doing here? Go back to where you came from," which in retrospect sound like the worst thing out of Hogan's mouth. Just goodness. And you know what's funny about that? Hogan came from WWF too. Like, what are you talking about, bro? But they have a stare off. The commercial happens. They come back on live, and then Hogan says, "What are you here for?" And he said, "I heard you're the best wrestler. That you're the best wrestler, and I want a shot at that championship. If you want a shot, brother, just shake my hand." I said, "Oh my God." And you know what's sad? I would have ate this up in 95. I'm not going to lie to you. I would have ate this shit. And not even because I like Lex Luger. I was a Hogan maniac. So I'm like, oh shit, Hogan's going to fight this guy? Cool. Whatever. Another person to fight, And also too, I like cheesy stuff. Like one of my favorite movies is Mortal Kombat from the 90s. I hate the new one, Cole. But the old 91, I still eat that shit up. I'm not going to hold you. But this shit was a little too cheesy for me. My pizza had a little too much cheese. That sounds pretty good.
I don't think it had enough cheese. That was giving me Elio's pizza. Remember that?
Oh, I do remember that. That was the microwave. I mean, yeah, you can microwave that shit, right? Yeah. I remember that.
The Elio's pizza or the other one, Celeste.
Oh, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I used to eat that shit, but then I didn't know how to cook, so I loved putting that. But it was good, right? Yeah.
But 1995.
But what did you think about this, Rich Cakes? Because I do want to say real quick before I give you the floor here, sir. I'm not gonna lie. Hogan's theme. I remember the first time I heard it was in '99, and I don't pick that over Real American. I still fuck with that theme. But this theme, I was kind of like, okay, a little head bob. But Rich Case, please, what did you think about Hogan beating another big man?
It was a match for selling, right? So Hogan doesn't sell, Bubba sells. So it's like, what are we doing here, right? It's like a basic. Listen, we know wrestling is scripted, right? So I get to a point where I'm like, is Hogan back there saying, "This is what I'm gonna do it. This is what you do it. You do it well, brother." That's what I'm getting from this. Like Hogan just demanding what he wants from these people, from these
gentlemen, right?
Mm-hmm. They're not going to win. I mean, and Jimmy Hart, it's great seeing Jimmy Hart there. I mean, for me, like now watching wrestling now, right? When somebody says they're making their I guess debut, right? They don't make their debut twice in one night. Like I mean. Why is Lex Luger a back-to-back promo?
Hold on. Okay.
Hear me now?
Okay. Yeah.
Why is he a back-to-back promos? That's what I was just a little bit lost at. So I think, it's 1995, but that's no excuse. And yeah, it's live, but that's no excuse.
There's no excuse.
Why is he back-to-back? We don't need this. We get it. You're here. So if it was that big of a deal, you save it for the end. Save it for after the match. Having him being in both back-to-back things, what was that doing? Is they going to be like, oh my God, tune in, guys, we just saw Lex Luger, and then he's back again? Like, I didn't understand the point of that. Obviously, at the time it was a good getting Lex, but like I said, it didn't move the needle for me personally, interest level or anything like that. What about you, Mark?
Yeah, please, Mark.
Yeah, like I was alluding to earlier, Lex did not need to be in the Sting Ric Flair match. Like he showed up, he was there, and then they took away too much focus. Granted, the match wasn't apparently the match wasn't supposed to be good to begin with, but they still took away a little bit too much focus from Sting and Flair for Lex, and I don't understand why. And then even the commentators are talking, well, who's he looking at? Is he looking at Sting? Is he looking at Flair? And then he doesn't even do shit. It was like, oh, thanks, guys. Like that was cool, I guess. So yeah, I 100% believe that he should have been saved for when he showed up in the last match. To talk about the match itself, yeah, it was a typical Hogan match, for better or for worse. As you said, Puba, it's one of those things where like you looking at it, it's like, but at the time, if you're watching it live, and especially if you're in that mall, oh, you're loving it, you're eating it up. This is exactly what you want to see. So you gotta. There is this one thing I have two questions two things that stuck out to me. There was this point where like Hogan, I think he had a hold on Bubba, and the ref like grabs Hogan's hair. Why did he do that? Like,
right? No, you know what? You're right because then Hogan does like this, and not for nothing, Hogan had all the right in the world to sock him because, like, dude, why are you doing that? All you had to do is say, "Get off."
Yeah, like he grabbed his hair, like I was like, wait a minute, is there money in the ref's pocket? Come to find out, that was just stupid. Like it had nothing to do with anything, which was kind of disappointing to me because, like I said, I was like, why did he grab his whole head or it was so weird.
What is ever left of it? Yeah.
Yeah, and then what was it called? The minion of doom comes in after the match, aka what you call him? All of
Hogan's ops.
Yeah, and then that's when Lex Luger comes in. So then Lex Luger comes in and he helps Hogan out. So I'm like, this entire thing is just confusing to me at this point, right? Because like, all right, he comes in and he helps Hogan out, and I'm like, okay, I guess. And then they do the thing where they bump into the back and then they turn and they're about to hit each other and then they don't. But then Hogan is angry as shit, and I'm like, wait, this man just helped you. Why are you so mad? What is going on? I'm confused. That man helped you. Sting just got here. Macho Man just got here. They're running late because of reasons. Why are you mad at the man that helps you take these guys out? Like, not like, oh, we're having a no, pissed. I didn't get it.
Well, you remember what Hogan, Mark, you remember what Hogan said? Go back to where you came from. He really was upset about him.
So.
Yeah, he was. What's so?
Maybe he didn't want him there either. Like, because you said how Bischoff didn't want him there and lowballed him. Mm-hmm. Maybe Hogan didn't want him there either. And he was like genuinely pissed because I was confused. I've never seen anything like it.
Right. I get what you're saying because it's like, why? Dude helped you. Like, what are you pissed about? Like,
yeah.
But what's funny? Oh, sorry. Go, please. I'm so sorry.
And to Rich King's point, yeah, once again, he definitely should have only showed up there. Like, I don't understand why he showed up the first in the Ric Flair Sting match. Like, I get it, it's live, but like, nah, he really only needed to show up one time because I feel like that is where your shock factor is. Particularly, you see everybody coming in trying to jump Hogan, and then all of a sudden, here's Lex Luger. Whoa, why the fuck is this guy here? Where did he come from? Wasn't he at the WWF the other day? What's going on? That would have been sick, but it's 1995.
Right.
Maybe. And then you got to figure it's 1995. It's WCW. It's their first episode, and they probably didn't want that shock factor. Like, look who's here.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That's totally what they wanted to have that shock TV. And I hear that. I think you guys are saying some fair points here because I really have no counter on that. The only thing I can sit here and say is they just wanted to shock the world, show like anything can happen on a live taping, and they wanted to build on that. Especially in like in the 90s, we had that was kind of a thing, right? They wanted to have that shock TV, that shock factor, everything like that. So I could see what they were going for. Maybe in execution, it wasn't the best. I did want to say here and touch on this last piece before we go. I said Hogan and all his ops. That included the ref. I wanted you to know that because when you said that, I wanted you to, yeah, he was a part of that too. When I said all of Hogan's ops was there, and that was including the ref, I thought it was important to throw that out there. But boys, they didn't have many matches. It didn't go long. 45 minutes was the run time here. Watching this show, and I guess the question would be in a 95 and your 95 eyes, you're watching wrestling, you see this show, would you watch the second episode of Nitro? And I'll start with you, Mark Wins.
Probably. I mean,
okay.
Like I think the show was a 3 out of 5 on the 2025 lens. So I can only imagine how hyped this show would have been, in a 1995 lens where where most people are literally only absorbing wrestling via their TV. They don't have internet. They don't have YouTube clips or Instagram clips. They can't go online and Google and figure things out. There's only one way to absorb wrestling. You're either going to the show live or you're watching it. And if you don't watch it, you're missing it, and your friends are going to tell you about it. So I imagine that at the time, this was probably a 4 out of 5 show. You had the shock factor. It had the good match to start the game. It had the funny stuff to end the game. It was cool. Like I said, I gave it a 3 out of 5 even on 2005 standards, 2025 standards rather. So
nice.
I definitely said if I saw this, I definitely would have tuned in to the second episode to see, especially my boy Macho Man. I would have. Yeah, I'm in.
All right, Rich Kings.
No, I would not have wanted to see the second one. The people that's there is just did not interest me in my childhood. I think that no. Sorry.
You know what? That's fair. I was interested because I thought it was going to be a yes across the board here, but Rich King said absolutely not. I would have been, and granted, these were none of the players for me. I hear what Rich Kings is saying. Like, I mean, Hogan was someone I was a fan of when I was a child. And I got more into Sting when he became a Crow, but I think Sting would have caught my attention because Sting was always just something unique to me. Like he was, a guy, he had face paint and he had a certain, I don't want to say aura because that word just got shoved to the fucking ground, but presence to him. He had a certain presence to him that always caught my interest. A lore, if you will. So I think I would have definitely tuned back in just to see what's going on and see what's happening here and stuff like that. But that was really that's it. That's the WCW Nitro episode 1. We were able to get this under an hour. That's impressive. I think the other shows is usually like an hour and some change, but an hour. But this wasn't a long show, and we're gonna be back with more Big Pop Theory podcast content. We're gonna keep trying to do some retrospect, some retro episodes, and I'm gonna talk to you guys after and figure out how we want to do this. If anyone want to pick something and whatnot. But that's the show. We want to thank you for joining us for this recording. Probably should have said that in the beginning. This is a recording, but we want to thank you for joining us and give us some thoughts about what you thought about Nitro. What some of your favorite memories in Nitro? It don't even have to be in 1995. It could just be in general from 95 to 01. What is your favorite memory? We'd like to hear it, like to see it. And also too, if you have any suggestions or something like, hey man, it'd be cool if you review this and talk about this. I'll talk to the boys and we'll figure out something and make it a thing. So with that said, Mark Wins, you stepped away from the camera, but you showed off that lovely logo. Where can people find you if you want to be found here on the internet?
You can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/legend_M. It's getting warmer. I mean, colder rather. And
I wish it was warmer.
Man, listen, it was a little warm today. I was like,
yeah, it was.
Yeah, we're doing this, but it rains tomorrow. So tomorrow I might actually. Well, no, tomorrow I'm definitely working on content. I don't think I'll upload anything, but by the time October pull up, definitely by the time what Survivor Series in September. Time out. When is? Never mind. We'll talk about
November.
that.
November. So Survivor Series November.
Yeah, but then
I feel like that was the question.
Yeah, I was also going to ask about Paris.
Huh?
So, yeah,
Paris?
that's all.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, but I think next time you guys see me, if not next time, definitely by Survivor Series, I'll have some gaming content up for you guys. So
I look
yeah,
forward
look
to
forward
that.
to that.
I look forward to that. That's gonna be great. Rich Kings, I know where people can find you. They know where they can find you, but it's always great to hear it come out of your mouth.
Here on the Big Pop Theory podcast.
Exclusively to the Big Pop Theory podcast. Honestly, we won big time when we got Rich Kings. It was like he was like our big draft pick. So shout out to Rich Kings. The Big Pop Theory podcast. We have an Instagram, we have a Twitter that we sometimes use, but Instagram is really where we put stuff where we let you guys know that we have some content going on. And there's going to be links in the description, so you can click on all that stuff if you want to find us and stuff, like my Instagram and Mark Wynn's YouTube and all that stuff. So we should be back with that. This is the Big Pop Theory podcast. We also have a Gmail at the Big Pop Theory podcast at gmail.com. So if you have any questions or anything like that, hit us up there and we answer stuff there. Also, the Big Pop Theory podcast is an audio podcast. So we use the audio to talk about what's going on in the week of wrestling. So we talk about Raw, NXT, some AEW, and some SmackDown, and maybe some news along the ways of what might have happened, and random conversation with myself and one ShaySawyer. So with all that said, thank you for watching this episode. We're going to put the graphic up again, and we say thank you, and we'll see you for the next retrospect review.